This podcast is brought to you today by currently our one and only sponsor, currently accepting more, Simply Diplicious. Found online in the web, one word, www.simplydiplicious.com. Found on Facebook at Simply Dip-Licious. And found on Instagram, all one word, Simply Diplicious. Get all of your delicious dip needs in one convenient location online. Again, at www.simplydiplicious.com. Hey guys, welcome to episode 1 of Ruff Talk VR. This is your host, D. Scruffles.
Along with Stratus 2K1. Want to thank everybody for listening to our first ever podcast on what's going to be hopefully a long journey for all parties involved. But real briefly, we're going to be sticking strictly to the Oculus profile for gaming here, not branching out at the moment.
Nothing personal.
No, the price point for the Oculus at $299 was right in our money pocket for us to get involved in this back in, it was, how long was it?
I'd say October
of last year. Yeah, we both were able to pick them up relatively within a week of each other. And you talk about a life-changing experience. It was nothing like I actually thought it was going to be.
Kind of bummed out.
Yeah.
I'd heard some negative things. People were kind of saying, mobile processor, and.
Yeah, my expectations were admittingly pretty low.
Yeah, and you put it on, and right when you get that opening screen, that load in, you get to that home screen where you're kind of in that virtual environment.
Yeah.
You're looking around, and it's, wow, every time I give somebody an Oculus to try, they put it on, and one of the biggest wow moments is just that first entry. They do a great job with that.
Yeah, no, your brain does not prepare you for actually what's going to go on. But we noticed the development of these games that were coming out just keep getting better and better and better. The improvements to the system, along with the games that keep dropping, just keep getting better and better. So we figured, you know what, it's podcast time. So,
and props to a lot of these developers too, because it's not like these games are just a quick pump and dump. It's not like they drop them and they leave. A lot of the games we're going to talk about are constantly improving.
Oh yeah, the Oculus itself, the updates they've made since we got it in October to now is pretty huge with some of the features they've dropped, and then the visual improvements as well.
Yeah, I mean, geez, when we got it, back in October, there was no 90 hertz. Today we have not only 90 hertz, now they have the experimental 120 hertz.
Yeah, and actually some games that are taking advantage of it.
So not only have the games improved, I've never gotten a game system and seen the whole game system itself improve. Graphically, functionality, everything, so much. I mean, I'm very impressed.
Yeah, so with that, you're going to hear conversations every week on new games that drop, some games that we've already previously owned. The idea and the intent is to actually try everything that's available. The other beauty of these Oculus Store games is the price points. They're a third of what people are probably used to paying for, I'll say more traditional games or disc games or even the digital download games that tend to be very pricey. These are they're almost a giveaway, not to mention the free games that they will offer you in demo form.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting used to the time that $60, $70, that's what a new game costs for a major publisher, released on a PlayStation, computer, Xbox. With the Oculus Store, it's very routine. You see free $5, $10, $15.
Yeah, $14.99.
$30, $29.99. That is probably the most expensive you are going to see at this time. It's really impressive what the developers are releasing for a very affordable price.
So some of these games, admittingly for the price point that they're offering them and the development stage they're in, when we review them, they're not going to be, as tight as the games that are coming out of the starting block with a $30 to $40 price point.
Yeah, but I also don't think it's going to be there. We don't really have like Cyberpunk releases either. You know what I mean? If it's on the Oculus Store, it's probably not going to crash. It works pretty good.
We'll talk about that later. 'Cause,
yeah. Hey, we don't agree about everything. We'll get into that segment. We'll get into that.
I've got firsthand experiences with top line games that have issues now and then. So, but kudos to all parties involved, from the Oculus store to the developers that are working, to Oculus's open mind to developers that can enter into the gaming market with a different strategy platform that didn't exist for them even a year ago. So be prepared. So with that, turn it over to Scruffles to tell you what our first game of the week is going to be.
So our first game is one that launched actually not too long ago. Its name is, I pronounce it Demeo.
Yeah, I thought it was Demeo, so for the first week I kept calling it Demeo. But
maybe he's right. I
think you're right on this one.
I don't know.
Demeo,
so it's spelled Demeo. So you pronounce it however you want.
Maybe I just like it. I want it to be Demeo.
It's pretty close to demon. I think I read online it means something in Latin. I don't know if that's true or not, but regardless of the name, if we pronounce it not right, if we don't, the game is amazing. Right now on the Oculus Store, like I said, it just launched a week or two ago. It's already got a 4.7 rating out of 1,347.
That's actually important to note, because not everybody who buys a game obviously reviews it. So for 1,300 people to have actually left a review.
And not only left a review, a consistent, what seems like 5-star review, for it to have an average of 4.7 reviews. And, this isn't like the Android store and the Google Play store or anything like that. You're going to have a bunch of bot reviews. These are real reviews. So currently Demeo's $29.99 on the store.
Yep, like it's on the higher end of games.
And this is one of those instances, though, I will say, worth it. The developers have promised free content coming with future DLCs. Already, the game launched, like most launches. There's a couple minor bugs that people were experiencing in multiplayer. They've already ironed out some of them. Like I said, planned DLC coming out. The game's off to a good start.
Why don't you tell them exactly what the game is?
Yeah, before we get into that, it's kind of a top-down tabletop simulator. But I don't want to explain it too bad. Sometimes I'm bad with these initial things. I'll leave this part to Stratus. This is kind of his forte.
No, it's like this would be like if you closed your eyes when you played Dungeons and Dragons when you were a kid, and what you envisioned actually happening. I mean, that's about the best way I could describe it. There is a dice involved, so there is the randomness that's involved with it. Strategy's definitely involved, but overall I would describe it as like what Dungeons and Dragons you wished it could have been. It's coming to life in front of you. The real life game is happening.
So to help you visualize what we're kind of struggling to explain, the game loads in, and you pick one of 4 different classes. It's your basic rogue, your wizard, your archer, and your warrior tank. So you pick which one suits you. You can play by yourself in a single player mode, where you pick up to three different warriors, or you can play online with up to 4 different friends. That's what me and Stratus usually do. Usually we two-man this. Me personally, I like the warrior. He tends to go with the archer.
I'll take the range in this game.
Yeah, but before we get a little bit too much in that, let me keep helping you visualize. So once you pick your character, the game loads in, and it's literally you in a virtual environment with a tabletop, a full like gaming tabletop, like you see when you go into one of those gaming tournaments. It's fully set up, ready to go. You don't have to benefit. You try to do this stuff at home, you're going to spend an hour before you ever even play this game. You just put on the headset, you load in, and from there you can grab the actual table and move it accordingly to your view. So you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can turn it left, you can turn it right. And movement in this game is very simple. Your character has a pre-selected amount of tiles he can move. Remember, this is a tabletop game, so you're not going to be sitting in there with your character walking around freely. This is turn-based, operates with cards and dice. So you have a certain limit that you can move your character per turn. Each turn you'll move. You get 2 actions per turn. In terms of combat, it's all dice-based. So you can roll. You either get a single hit, a double hit or the unfortunate case that sometimes always
Yeah,
comes at
no
the worst
hit.
time. Yeah, the miss. Poof. Nothing's worse than a miss. The concept is every game's randomly generated, so you'll never have the same experience each time. It's 3 different levels, and it's a dungeon crawl. So miscellaneous different chest, gold, different cards to get, different enemies laid out. But the basic concept is each floor you need to get the key to unlock the passage to the next floor. And then on the 3rd floor is where you fight the boss. This might sound real simple. Oh my God, only 3 floors. I'm going to blow through this in 20 minutes. I promise you, you will not. The game takes a while to get through a floor. It's not something that, you're going to get through 2 sessions in a night. It's something you really have to commit for. But oh my goodness, is it fun. It's one of probably the first Oculus game that I lose an hour, 2 hours so fast. It just absolutely flies by.
Yeah, I was ill prepared for exactly how. I thought I was gonna whiz right through it, because you see that they only currently really have 1 level going on right now. So the brain says, "Oh, this is an easy one," and then I tried the single player. And when you do play the single player, you're blessed enough to have 3 other characters with you that you can control. And it made no difference. I got destroyed within, 2-3 minutes. So then when we played the multiplayer, we got destroyed in like 2 or 3 minutes.
And man, I won't lie, I was pretty embarrassed by this. I kind of thought we were gonna win. I had high expectations for our teamwork ability, everything like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep on just how hard this game really is.
No, we got slapped. There's no way around that. One thing I forgot to mention when I'm trying to help you guys visualize what's going on here, we mentioned cards for a second. So you can hold, I think, up to 8 different cards in your hand. Every different character has different special attacks. Besides your basic, whatever hit, each card has a different effect. Either it can do damage, maybe it heals, maybe it sets up a target, a lure. There's a huge variety of different cards. You can find cards in chests, and also every certain amount of different attacks you do generates a new card. Again, that's just to kind of help you get what's going on.
It sounds more complicated than it really is.
No,
I can assure you that the learning curve on this game is like nil.
Yeah. Don't take us getting slapped and
anything about any role-playing games or dice games and be able to pick this game up within literally minutes.
I'll be honest with you, I've never played a tabletop game in real life, in person, and I was hooked in this game in probably about 5 minutes.
Yeah, see, I've done the tabletop, and that's why it's like the best visual I have for this game while playing it is like, this is what I wish the tabletop would have done. When I move, I wish my character would have, come to life if there was combat, other than having to think about it and be told what the outcome was, and it get documented and you live that. It's like, this is going to allow me to see it. I was blown away with that.
No, I won't lie. That's definitely helps with the immersion, the whole getting into the whole tabletop feel. But there's always things that kept me away from tabletop. Like I said, I had to get all my friends together. Everyone had to commit on a time. You have to set up the board, deal with the pieces. Like I said, the whole process just to get started is an hour versus I send you a message, say, hey, round of Demeo, boom, we put on the headset, we're on in 10 minutes. Not even, it's such an amazing setup. But I think we've done a good job, kind of going over what this game is. I don't want to really get
fantasy role playing.
Yeah, it's a basic tabletop
nutshell.
simulator. It shows so much potential, but I don't want to give away too much about what we like, what we dislike. That's kind of going to be what we get into next. So the next part of our show, what we're going to do, we're going to try our best to not interrupt each other, but sometimes we can't help it. I kind of want to go over a little bit of what I like and what I dislike about the game, and then we can kind of see what Stratus thinks about it from there. So right off the top, like I said, I'm hooked in 5 minutes. It's hard to say much negative about this game. There's so much I like. Every round is randomly generated, so again, it never gets old. It's not a walk in the park. Right now, there's no difficulties. There's no easy, medium, hard. There's no turn friendly fire on, off. It's just load in and go. Which, is good and bad in some ways. That's kind of one of the things that I would like to see them add is maybe the ability to alter some of that stuff. Right now, I think the biggest con I have with the game, and this is such a personal little critique, is I really wish I could make my own hero. I feel like that's a big part about a tabletop game is the whole like creation part. You have your special hero. You choose what race, gender, whatever they are. You roll their stats. You have progression with them. I don't know. That's kind of one thing I would like to see. That's kind of one negative. But the game did just come out. I think something the game does great, and this might sound dumb for those of you who haven't done a lot of Oculus games, but the in-game voice chat works amazing. Some of these Oculus games don't always do the best with that aspect. It's a very polished game. The publisher's resolution, they're amazing. They're consistent games. They've done games like Cookout, other great games on Oculus Store. So it's very polished. The graphics are amazing. I think my cons with the game isn't even really negatives with the games. It's more just things I would like to see, What do you think? What do you think, Stratus?
I don't know. My pro of the game was the second it loaded up and the little sword when shooting through the name of the game. It's just overall, I honestly, if I had one negative, it would be maybe the audio is a little loud when the game loads. For the little sound bite they used, but graphically, I absolutely love the game. Easy to figure out how to play. The ability to zoom out, make it look like you're playing on a game board in your living room, versus zooming in to like you're literally standing in the room watching things from a side view. It's absolutely amazing. I don't have any negatives about this game.
Wow, look at that. I had to try hard. My negatives were pretty weak, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, what was I saying? Oh my god, I wish I could make a character. I wish, I maybe could download somebody else's pre-made thing, but wow, no negatives? Wow.
No, I mean I could whine and say, "Oh, it's hard. You should have an easy mode," but it's my understanding they've got it set so if you're playing with just two people, the health of the enemies or the strength of the enemies is going to vary versus if you play it single player. Or you play
that is true. That is true.
So I mean, they got me kind of cornered on that one because they've already made it more difficult or harder or consistent. So I mean, I struggle. I mean,
is there anything you would like to see added? I love the idea of maybe some sort of dungeon master feature.
I'd like to see the ability to actually create your own dungeon and run the show.
Maybe download somebody else's, something like that. Something to. I mentioned the game has a lot of replayability. I don't find myself getting sick of it.
No, I'm although I believe we finished the level.
Yeah, we beat it one time.
It doesn't matter. It's, you play it again, it's going to be different.
Oh my god, unfortunately.
What seemed to work very well the first time you beat it doesn't seem to work well when you try to go back and do it again. So the replayability, it's a no-brainer. And then the fact that the devs seem, I mean, I'm going to say they were caught off guard.
With how much it blew up. I 100% agree.
Yeah, man.
I don't think that they knew how many people wanted this type of game in VR.
And not to nothing, it's the Pandora's box of game changers for people to say, hey, how good would this board game be in VR? How good would this be in VR?
Yeah, I think it, like you said, it opens up Pandora's box. The game engine is so polished that if you stripped everything that they have, like that makes Demeo, and you just looked at the raw game engine they've created, that's a perfect tabletop simulator.
Graphically, it's honestly, if people, I think they have a demo that you can download for free and try it.
Okay.
Which, if the case, I'd recommend it. but it's
Hey,
game changer.
if not the case,
And people need to also know. I mean, this isn't my style of game. I mean, I've had experience playing Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid, but never my thing.
not
The
like
style
this.
of gaming isn't my thing, but it's easily one of my favorite games.
Yeah, and I think that, personally, me and you running a co-op on it, I feel like we've got a really good team going. I rock the warrior, you rock the archer.
Yeah,
It's
the archer.
pretty badass. We do a good job with it. That's why I kind of wish we could make our own characters. Make it D-Scruffles.
And with the cards you were mentioning, I mean, you get to use them any and every round.
Yeah, and every class has unique cards too, so it's not like you get access to all the cards that I get as a warrior. Yours are completely unique to you. The game is hats off. So I think now is a good time that we get into what we give this as a final rating. This is our first one. We're going to do a basic kind of 1 to 5 scale. I don't want to make it sound like we're too generous. I'm kind of a harsh critique. I don't know about you. I'm picky. There's a lot of things that can upset me. Man, I think this game I have to give it a good 4.5. I mean, it's
4.5
for $29.99 with the guarantee that they have DLC coming, more different maps, constant improvement. They're listening to.
So the next map isn't going to cost money, right?
If you've bought in the game, you're in. And honestly, the developers are doing great online. They're constantly responding to the community in their Discord. They're open to feedback. 4.5. This game is great.
I'm gonna have to go with a solid 5. I can't find anything wrong with it. I've had no glitches. Well, actually, no. I'll give them a 4.9.
Why? What's your one glitch? Let's hear it.
So
I
stupid.
personally, I haven't encountered any glitches.
It's so stupid.
I've read about them. I haven't encountered them though.
So you have the option of playing in basically a basement, or you can do away with that background image while you play and it just be a black background. And when we were playing before, and I always play in the basement image because it looks like...
That's what I do. I didn't even... To be
Looks
honest
like
with you, I
an
didn't even know you could
old
change
school
it.
dirty basement,
I didn't even know
like
you
a
could change it. I
teenage
like the
boy's
little
basement,
geeks basement.
Playing
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons. It's perfect. So I always use that as the setting, but we were playing and I was rotating around the table and the scene went black. The game was still there, but it just
table was still
reverted.
there?
Yeah, everything was fine. Everything ran fine. The sound was good. But that basement image disappeared, so I had to click in the settings, and then I clicked on the basement to shut off and then clicked it back on, and it was fine. So, I don't even know if I call it a glitch. But the level of detail that they spent that they could have avoided, I mean, people, if you pick up your piece and turn it over, you'll see,
Made in, what is it, Sweden?
It's
Norway,
made in
something?
Sweden, and
Switzerland, something like that?
They're crazy. They went above and beyond where they needed to.
Yeah, even the first level that you load into, because this is the first free one. Like I said, more DLC coming. It says book 1.
Yeah.
The DLC is going to be book 2 and then book 3.
I think the devs slammed it. Screw it. I changed mine to the 5 because the fact that the fact that they're continue. Yeah, I can't gig them for something that, who knows, maybe
maybe it was your fault.
Maybe it was on my end.
Why
I
are you
don't
being
know.
so indecisive, switching your background all the time?
Right?
Man? Make up your mind.
Yeah, so it's like, no, I can't find a fault. I mean, visually, it's a 10 out of 10, guys. Gameplay, it's simple enough to learn, but hard enough to conquer that. I would even say it like that: simple to learn, impossible to conquer.
Yeah, because it's always fresh. $29.99, man. Hours of entertainment.
And let's be honest. When you throw something, like use one of your cards on somebody, you get not excited at the sound effects that take place and the actual motion of the character that's happening. And
I will say, though, before we close up, one thing that I do feel they really need to add is the ability to save a round. Because let me add this. If you... Be prepared. This isn't a 15-minute start it and finish it game.
No, you're in it for unless you get destroyed.
Take about an hour and a half, maybe even 2. It is what it is. It's great. It flies by. You have a great time. But there's been times we get to almost done with the second floor, and man, maybe we're dicking around too much, grabbing every single chest, spending a whole bunch of time trying to get a bunch of cards. Man, I got work the next day. I got to go to bed. I wish I could save it and resume it with you the next day, but unfortunately, we lose the progress.
No saves. You start from ground zero every time.
But again, like I said, the developers have been very open to feedback, and that's been a common complaint that they said they're addressing. And maybe by a week from now, that's not even the case.
The fact that they're going to even address that.
Yeah.
It's like, because honestly, it's minor.
No, like I said, like you said, I don't think they were anticipating how good this was going to be and how loved it was going to be.
No, it came out of the block.
Almost 1,400
Again, the price
reviews.
tag wasn't the cheapest, though.
No, and a lot of people are buying it.
Yep.
So props to them. I hope they're doing good.
I stand solid by my 5. I look forward to
I hope they're throwing a nice office party with some.
I look forward to the continued development of the game.
No, absolutely. So I give a 4.5. You give a 5? That's your final?
What about other characters?
What do you mean?
Well, they've got the 4 corners covered.
Yeah,
for sure.
Maybe a little sub. I like the idea of making your own because that's part of the whole That's part
Yeah.
of the
What about
experience.
What about making your own, but you got to roll the dice for it?
I'm down with it.
Okay.
I'm down with that as long as that there's improvement. So meaning like he can level up.
Yeah.
Right.
Level up to. That makes sense.
I don't mind starting with a weak character because I happen to get the bad roll, but I don't want him to be like that forever. Come on, man. My guy wins a couple dungeons. I want him to improve a little bit,
Yeah, no. Hats off.
Great game. Amazing. All right. Anything else you want to add? Or
No, first one's always the roughest one.
Yeah.
So, it'll be fun to look back on this.
Yeah, guys, this is episode 1. Thank you for listening if you listened. We're working out the kinks. This is first one. We're getting more comfortable. It's something that we've been talking about for so long, and it's kind of we had to get it going.
Yeah.
Demeo was really the kick in the behind. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and have a great day.
I'll talk to you soon.